Logan, everyone, this is Randy, your sewing machine man. We're looking at a Singer, and it's the Singer model 9217. And the reason we're looking at it is a customer sent it to me to get it serviced, and I'm gonna make a quick video to show that customer, as well as anybody else who's interested, how to thread it and wind the bobbin. I forget how she came across it, but it's gonna be new to her, and it has a very steep learning curve, because Singer's good at one thing, and that's taking something that works perfectly, making it more complicated and less reliable. They've been doing it now since I've been on board with Singer, knowing how they operate. That would be 51 years, 52 years. That's how long I've been watching them take, a nice meal and turn it into a soup sandwich. That's what they're famous for. I'm gonna make up a nice anagram for Singer one of these days and throw it at you, but this is the machine here. If you are new to sewing, don't get it. It is so complicated and so annoying and so wrought with failure that if you get a chance to bid on one of these online, don't do it. Get a 401, get a 403, get a 500A, get into Slantomatics. If you have to have a Singer, if you are what we call a Singer nut, if you can buy one locally, get a 201, get a 221, get a 301. Way back before 1960, even 1970, prior to that. This one, anything with 4 digits, anything with 3 digits is a suspect, but anything with the 4 digits is just completely off the rails. So what they've done is they've taken the bobbin system on this. I'll show you how to thread it, and then we'll wind a bobbin. So here's the bobbins. They got a little button on top. Little button on top, that was the bottom. A little button on top, and you push down on this little button, and it engages into the bobbin winder underneath, which is down underneath the slide plate over here, under the slide plate. That's very flimsy, very lousy, but there's a little button right there, and you have to engage the slide plate. Get this out of the way. There's a little stop over here, a little lever stop, and you push that into the stop. When it gets to the stop, then it means the activator lines up to the post that goes down, and then the bottom drives it. They've been making bobbin winders since 1851. All you do is put them against a hand wheel and it lines perfectly. That's too much to ask. Let's skip so many moving parts here that they fail. This fails, the needle plate fails, this button fails, the bobbin here's a bobbin. Here's one where the button is no longer there. See this, how this has the button? This does not have the button because it's tried in plastic, and plastic fails because that's its job, and then the thing flies out, it's spring loaded, goes across the room, and you put it in the next time, you go, wow, it doesn't work. Yeah, it's not going to work ever, and you need to get a new one, which is this one right here. Okay, first, let's thread this thing up. I'll stop telling you how terrible this thing is, because ladies come on and they go, quit saying how terrible my machine is. Well, you may like it because you've mastered it. You've had it for 20 years, and you know all the little craziness things. You've had it in for service 15 times, and they said, don't do this, be sure to do that. So that's what you get with these things. So I'll tell you, winding the bobbin and threading it is a chore. We'll start out with threading it, because that's going to be the first thing you're going to do with the machine, I guess, is to thread it up. Spool's up here on top. You have to have a spool stop that's larger than the spool. If the spool stop isn't larger than the spool, it'll cause a catastrophe. It'll snag, it'll hang up. Always make sure your presser foot is raised up in the up position. Reach under the back, raise the presser foot up. That's what spreads the tension disc apart. And I tell everyone, if you ever go to thread a machine and step one isn't raising the presser foot, you've already misthreaded the machine. No matter what you do, it's misthreaded. So always step one, raise the presser foot up. Now, you're gonna roll this off of here. I always hold it so it doesn't just go taking off right there. I kind of hold it because you're going to go in this guide, snap, like so. Snap, cool. Right here, first groove, down. I'm holding it still so it doesn't go reeling off of there. I take it around, little arrow points, back up, little arrow, around, and down to right about there. About there, I let go on top because I have to lower the foot and pull. You have to pull when it's there, and you'll feel resistance, like I always say, like someone's holding on to it and won't let go. Make sure this is on auto. See the dots? 1, 2, 3, 4, auto, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Make sure it's on auto. Lower it. You pull on this. You'll feel the resistance like somebody has a hold. Won't let go. Then you know you have it threaded correctly. If you pull there and it just freewheels and it didn't get between the slots, try it again. You go down here. There's no thread guide above the needle. You thread it. You go straight through, front to back. Flat side of the needle goes to the back when you're changing the needles. Make sure you have a sharp needle in it. If you don't, you'll hear it go snap, 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 or thump, thump when it hits the fabric. I'm gonna put some light on this so I can maybe thread it. I'm not going for first try. That's just crazy talk. Let's see if we can thread it here in a reasonable amount of time, because I know your time is valuable as everybody else's. Got that through there. Black thread is probably going to be the hardest too, so there's always that. So you thread that up, and you're going to wind a bobbin. Now this one on here already wound. We're going to take it out, and we're going to put an unwound bobbin in. That's empty. That's always the best way to go with it. Make sure your bobbin is empty. You put that in, and you notice it does have the button on it, because the button's going to come into play with the little notch under here. Let me see if I can get this off real quick for you. Well, there's a little bump under there that engages that. I don't want to yank it off, because these little rails will pop out, because they're tin and they're very poorly made, and it'll be a problem. So you got the little deal. So what you want to do is raise the presser foot up after you threaded the machine. We're going to start winding now. You raise the presser foot back up. You put the thread under the foot, through the slot in the front. Let's get a little closer so you can see, because you'll say, oh my gosh, I couldn't see. Well, that's my fault. Let's get it where you can see the craziness here. This is craziness. You threaded the machine, you got it under the foot, through the notch, under the foot to the back. You'll notice this little rubber deal right here on the attacher for the presser foot screw. You put it between the rubber and the screw, and it'll hold it. You go around 1, 2, 3 times, and you hold on to it very tight. And at this point, you engage the slide plate. There's a stop over here. It'll bump up against the stop. At this point, you're thinking, wow, this is complicated. I'm with you. That's why we're doing this. You push this forward. There's a little bump under here that'll push this down and engage it. So you bring it forward. Make sure you're at the stop point. Make sure it's on straight stitch. It doesn't matter what the length is in. Put the zigzag on straight stitch so there's no width, so your needle bar will just be going up and down in the center. And then all you do then is give it the gas and run it at a medium speed, and it will start winding. Just trying to cut the thread there. I hold on to it. Okay. Sometimes I will take a peek to make sure it's working, and it looks like it is. So we're winding. And you can look down in there and see how much is wound. It's not a whole lot. There's no need in taking it all the way to the full portion to make sure you know what's going on. You can see what's going on. And when you pull this back, it disengages it. Then you sweep your thread to the rear, because there's only going to be one, because it's still connected to the top. Sweep it to the rear. Then you can just start sewing at that point. You can put something in there. And you go to close your slide plate. You push down on the red stop point. Push it over that. Complicated enough for you? Maybe. Then you lower your foot. Hold the threads to the rear. Don't let go. And start sewing. Alright? That's how you wind the bobbin. So you wound that black. Let's say you had one wound yesterday and it was wound red, and you want to change it out. Well, you have to take out this one and put in the other one. Of course, it just happens to be black. Oh, here's a white one. No, it's broke. There's one that's black. Here's one. Let's put this one in. Make sure it's got the button on it so it works. Make sure it's not broken. Now, when you load this in here, this is where it gets really interesting. Reloading an already wound bobbin. You'll notice on the bobbin case, let me tilt this up so you can see. Right here's a number 1. You can barely see it in the circle there. There's a 1 in a circle, and over here is number 2. You can see the 2 real well, but the numbers on the 1 is kind of bogus. 1 and 2. That's because when you're loading a bobbin that's already wound, you make sure it goes in the 1 slot there, push it around the front of the silver piece, and take it over to 2, and you just leave it laying right over there just past the 2. Just leave it laying there, and then with the presser foot up, you turn the hand wheel towards you, holding the thread to the rear, like so. Turn the hand wheel towards you, and it picks it up, and then you're ready to close the slide, push down on the red button, and you're ready to sew. All right, and away we go. So that's threading it, winding the bobbin, and on my counter here we're at 10.5 minutes. On any other machine that should take, oh gee, maybe 2 minutes, 5 minutes max, depending on what you got. This is one of those machines, you know, the Singer has to, I don't know if there's a competition internationally with other manufacturers, so you can make one more difficult, less reliable, harder to deal with, you know, more parts that break. You see, when you have bobbins that break, good Lord, these things are a couple bucks. So you get a half dozen of them, so you can have some colors and they break, and get some more and you go to find them, no longer available, out of stock. This is the one you want to skip. If you're out there buying machines, Singer 9217. It's not one I would recommend you get if you already have one. Maybe get it serviced by somebody who's seen one before, knows what it is, and make sure they know how to wind the bobbin. Have them watch my video, because maybe Grandpa did, maybe Dad did, but now the grandkids are running things, so they won't even know how to wind the bobbin on it. They'll just say, take it home, it's obsolete, can't get parts. Well, maybe you want to get another machine. That's not the reason to do it, but that is pointing you in the right direction. You can do better than this. No matter how much they sell it for, it's not worth it. It has that ceramic frame. The whole frame is poured into a mold and cast like pottery. It's like a, I don't know, coffee cup, pottery mug, and it's very, very fragile. So this is what I think of the Singer 9217. I don't think much of it. If you have one, at least you know how to thread it, you know how to wind the bobbin. But don't buy one of these. You don't need the aggravation in your life, and everything on it's obsolete and hard to get anyhow. Okay?